Hari Om, good evening. So today we will continue with the next set of verses in Tattvabodha. And as always, let's begin the session with prayers. So let me share the screen for the prayers.
Hari Om, Atma.
Hari Om. Om Shri Ganeshaya Namaha. Om Shri Saraswatyai Namaha. Om Shri Gurubhyo Namaha. Samasta Jana Kalyane Niratam Karunamayam Namami Chinmayam Devam Sadgurum Brahma Vidvaram Shruti Smriti Purananam Alayam Karunalayam Namami Bhagavat Pada Shankaram Loka Shankaram. Harihi Om Shri Gurubhyo Namaha. Harihi Om. So till the last class, we discussed about what all does not constitute the Atma, right? So we saw about the 3 types of bodies, we saw about the 5 koshas, we saw about the 3 states of experience, we saw about all this in detail, and finally the conclusion was all these are not the Atma. So the question was already asked, Atma kaha, in the beginning itself it was asked, and here detailedly it is given all these, that Stula Sukshma Sharirat, Panchakoshat, Avastatraya, all this are not the Atma. Atma is Satchitananda Swarupa, it is already mentioned. The same verse only we are going to see now again with a little more explanation about what is Sat, what is Chit, and what is Ananda. Okay, so here again the question is asked. In fact, we can see Atma Tarhi Kaha. Then what else is Atma? So you said this is not Atma, this is not Atma, this is, so what else is Atma? The question is being asked. And the Atma here it is said Satchitananda Swarupa. So here as always we will see all these terminologies in detail. Okay, so Sat Kim is the next question. Kalatrayepi Tishtati iti Sat. So what is Sat? Sat is that which remains unchanged in the 3 periods of time. Sat means existence. Okay, Sat also means truth. Here, Sat, it is indicating existence over here. All right, so just a minute. Just a minute, I'm just not able to put mine on this thing. Some other view is happening over here. All right, yeah. Great. So Sat is, what is Sat? What is existence? That which remains unchanged in 3 periods of time, that is past, present, and future, is existence. Okay, so past, present, and future. Let's not take the infinite past, present, and future. Okay, so time itself we will see later what is this concept of time itself will be explained in detail. But for our understanding, let us take to whatever extent we know. Okay, so we have already seen about the various functions of the mind, right? Remember we saw that when the mind is in the realm of feelings, emotions, it is called as manas. When it is in the realm of decision making, logical reasoning, all this, then it is called buddhi, the decision making functionality of the mind. And we've seen when it is with respect to the subconscious, with respect to the memories, it is called as chit. Yeah, chittam. And then we have something called as ahankara, where the I emotion is getting added to all these 3. That association brings about the association thought, or the identification thought is called as the ahankara. We've already seen this. We will take our own self as an example, and then we will elaborate it with respect to this Sat. Okay, so within us, our body has changed, our body will change, our body is changing, isn't it? We were like one tiny baby, and then we are growing, we have reached our maximum growth, and then we will start to decline, and then we will decay and die. That is eventually going to happen. But I know that I was that baby. I know that I am this person, and I know that I am only going to be that old person also, God willing, if I have that lifespan. Isn't it? And in the same way, no matter however my mental state changes, I still know that I am only having all this mental experiences, right? So within us itself, there is one constant that is always telling, this is you as a baby, this is you who were happy, this is you who were sad, this is you who are a mother, this is you who are a wife. Even though we take different roles, different forms, different expressions, there is something within us which keeps saying that this I is you. Isn't it? This I is remaining constant in the past, in the present, and also in the future. The same I is going to be there. That's how we will know, no, this is that same person, isn't it? So within us also, the I is associating with this changing factors, and it is still giving us the information that this is same, even though you are changing, even though you feel as if you have modified so many times, so you have taken so many different iterations, this is still the same. All right. So what is happening here? This is clear. So this I remains the same in past, present, future. The small I, Aruna I remains the same. That much we are clear, right? Now let's just extrapolate it for a moment. So I am associating myself with this body. All right. Now, what happened to this I before the body came into being? What will happen to this I after the body drops? What will happen? That I will continue to exist. So don't think about all these ghosts and bhutas and pisas, not in that sense, okay? So that existence that is there, the existence principle that is there, is always going to remain as is, because only from existence all beings can come, right? Anything that has a presence, anything that has an existence in this universe can come from existence only, no? It cannot come from nothing, isn't it? So that existence principle, which is remaining unchanged, is called, is a nature, is of the Atma. That existence nature is Atma. Okay, so this existence is going to remain constant, unchanged through all three periods of time. Through all three periods of time, this existence alone is present. Okay, on that existence only all these modifications keep happening, and we associate time with respect to the modifications that is happening on the existence. Okay, if there is no change, will we have a concept of time? If there is no sunrise, sunset, will there be a concept of time? If there is no growth or decay, will there ever be a concept of time? No, isn't it? Time comes because there is change. But this existence is changeless. So which means what? It is beyond time. Understanding the logic over here, it's a little tricky, but if we can just think a little bit and chew upon this fact, it will become evident. Time is there only because we see change. Time is a marker of change that is happening. When there is no change, will there be a concept of time? That changeless entity will be beyond time, no? Because there will never be a time when that entity ceased to exist. There will never be a time when there was existence without the existence principle at all. Atma, therefore, can never be born. Ajaya, it cannot be born, because which means what? Then there was something that was there before existence was there. So that isness can never be destroyed. No, we can even say nothing is there. That isness is always present, irrespective of the time, because it is beyond change. So that is Atma. That is the Sat nature of the Atma. All right. So that's why we say this I, the small I is us. Aruna, Rati, everybody is all the small I. But that big capital I am, is never born. Because it has always been there. There is never a time in which I am not there. I am always there. I am beyond time. So therefore, I am what? Birthless. At birthless, I am deathless. I cannot die. No, then if the existence itself is not there, then what will be left? It is not possible, right? Something will always be there. That isness will always be there, which means I don't have death. I means that capital I. The body will die, but the existence principle in me will never die. The existence principle is constantly taking different forms, different names, and coming and going through so many different experiences in the waking, deep sleep, and dream state. But the existence principle is always there. All right, so that is my true nature. I am of the nature of existence. All right, so that's why we always say, I am, isn't it? So this is of Sat, that which remains unchanged in 3 periods of time is existence. All right, good. Now, what is the next attribute? What is the next this thing of Atma? Chit Kim. So Sat Chit Ananda, we saw what is Sat. Sat is existence principle, that which remains unchanged in all periods of time because it is truly beyond time. Existence is always there. That is my true nature. So that is Sat. So what is Chit? Chit is Jnana Swarupam. Okay, that which is of the nature of knowledge. What is consciousness? Chit means consciousness. Okay, it is of the nature of absolute knowledge. All right. So now what is knowledge? Knowledge is knowing something. Very simply put, isn't it? When we know about something is knowledge. Even knowing that I don't know about something is also knowledge because you also have to know ignorance, isn't it? So how do we gain this knowledge? Knowledge is gained through mind. We can read, we can hear, we can experience all this. Through all these ways, we can gain knowledge. And how does this knowledge, how is this knowledge there in our mind as thoughts? Anything that is there in the mind is only in the form of thoughts. And this thought it can be written as a book, it can be recorded as a lecture, whatever way it is, but essentially knowledge exists as a thought in the mind. All right. So here, consciousness is that which is illuminating that thought. Okay, I know, I don't know. Both of this is illuminated by something, no? That awareness is there, no? That awareness is Chit. Chit form of, Chit of the Atma. That is what is meant by Chit. Okay, so that is the Chit aspect of the Atma. So here what happens is this Chit or this consciousness is always illuminating, just like how existence is always there. The Chit aspect of the Atma is also constantly there. That is why we are constantly aware. There is never a break in the thought that I am Aruna, isn't it? Even if I'm in deep sleep, that consciousness is still there because it was witnessing my deep sleep. I am able to get up and say, I had a deep sleep. Even though I didn't have any thoughts at that time, that consciousness principle was always working, isn't it? So that is the nature of, that is another aspect of the Atma. So this is the consciousness aspect. And another thing that we have to remember here is this consciousness principle is only illuminating all other thoughts. Without this I principle, will we even be aware of any other thought that is happening? Impossible, right? Without me, will there be any thoughts of Aruna? Without that I, will Aruna even know that she is talking or walking or she is a girl or a boy? Will that ever happen? So it is this consciousness that is illuminating all other thoughts. So then what will illuminate this consciousness? This consciousness is Swayam Prakashaha. It is self-luminous. It doesn't need anything else to shine upon it to reveal itself. It is self-revealing. It is self-illumining. So that is the consciousness principle of the Atma. So we have seen Sat, we have seen Chit. All right. So this is a knowledge principle. And the last one is Ananda. Okay, so what is Ananda? If it is all still vague, please hold on. We will tie it all up together. Okay. Right. So Anandaha kaha. Sukha Swarupa. This Ananda, very simple. No, he is given very simple answer for all this. Ananda is Sukha Swarupa. What is bliss? It is the nature of absolute happiness. All right. So we have seen in the opening lecture itself that we constantly do everything for our own happiness. No matter what we do, every thought, every action we do because we want to be happy. Why do we want to be happy? Because it is our true nature. It is our birthright. In fact, Gurudev says it is our birthright. Because I am Atma, and the nature of Atma, the aspect of Atma is Satchidananda. Ananda is my true nature, and that is why we are automatically drawn towards being happy. Do we ever go in search of sorrow? Oh, I want to be sad. It's been so long since I felt sad. I should do something to feel sad. Do we ever do that? Nobody does that. No being does that, isn't it? We all are drawn towards happiness. Why? Because it is our natural state. And here we have to understand that this Atma, no, it is of the nature of absolute happiness, not relative happiness. You can see it in two ways. One is, remember when we were seeing about the three states of being, we saw how in the deep sleep state, the happiness that one experiences is homogeneous and it is a common experience across all beings. There is no like, she had a better deep sleep than that person. Deep sleep is deep sleep, whether it is for a king or a pauper or a prime minister or for the sweeper. Everybody experiences deep sleep in the same way, and the degree of happiness is absolute over there. Whereas in the waking state and dream state, it is extremely relative. Second way to look at this is, this happiness is not dependent on any external factor. By nature itself, the Atma aspect is that of happiness. It does not need anything to be happy. It is just happiness by itself. That is to say, I may feel, Aruna may feel, unless until I have AC in the summer, I am not able to be happy. I will be very miserable and sad and the body will suffocate. All this is there. But the Atma does not go and say, oh, I need AC to be happy. I need to eat this pizza to be happy. No. It does not depend on any object. The very nature of Atma is that of happiness. How wonderful, no? Which means we all are in our true nature filled with joy and happiness only, irrespective of what is happening around us. But are we able to experience it? Yes, we are able to experience it. Whenever the mind is quiet, we are happy. Isn't it? But when the mind is constantly whirring, that's where we lose sight of this happiness. If we are able to still the mind for a little while, even if it is only for a few seconds, we will be able to access this happiness that is always there within us because it is our very nature. Okay. So here, another thing that we have to remember is everything that we do, okay, the happiness, no, whatever is very dear to me will give me joy. Isn't it? Like, for example, I love my laptop because it is helping me do my work. It is helping me reach out to people and, helping me spread the message of yoga and Vedanta. So I just love my laptop. This is my tool. And I love others also, like be it my husband, be it my parents, be it my child. I love them also for my own sake only because they give me happiness. First lecture, remember? Whatever we do is for our own happiness. Similarly, so then who do I love the most? Myself only, no? See the logic? I'm loving all objects because it is giving me joy. I'm loving all people around me. I'm loving the people around me because they give me joy. So then my own nature is that of joy. So I love myself the most. Now only people are talking about self-care, self-love, all these things. Vedanta already talks about that. We are our true love. We are our first love. Okay, so everything that we do is an expression of this love only. Only that because of this chattering and stories of the mind, we get sidetracked. But remember, our very nature is that of Ananda or absolute happiness, not relative happiness, absolute happiness. So in conclusion, now we will tie everything up together. Okay, so don't worry. So in conclusion, what is Bhagavad Pada saying? Evam Satchidananda Swarupam Swatmanam Vijnaniyat. Evam Satchidananda Swarupam Swatmanam Vijnaniyat. Therefore, thus one should know oneself to be of the nature of existence, consciousness, bliss. So, we are saying our own true nature is that of existence, consciousness, bliss. Okay. Now, let's take any object that is there around us. What does it have? It has a name and it has a form. Nama Rupa. Right. Anything, it has a name and it has a form. Mostly we give the form and the name are closely associated. Suppose I say the name Rose, immediately the form of the rose comes into the mind, isn't it? Sometimes we may look at a form and we will not know its name also. That is also there, and then we will learn the name, everything. But the name and form is something that every aspect of this universe is identified and associated with. All right. Now, this existence and this name and form are the attributes of that particular being. Whether it is animate, inanimate, you leave that aside. Everything has a name and form. And we call this name and form these qualities as the attributes of that object. For example, let's say this water bottle. Okay, so this filter is not showing clearly. Some water bottle is there. It is a metal water bottle. It is green in color. It is filled with water. We have all these attributes for that water bottle. All right. However, existence, consciousness, and bliss of the Atma are not attributes. Why? Attributes will may keep changing, may keep differing. These are the aspects of the Atma itself. Remember, Atma is something that is beyond our definition. All these words are only indicators. Okay. So these are the aspects of the self. The quality belongs to the substance, and the substance always has a name and form. The self is beyond all name and form. You cannot attribute a name or a form to Atma because it is beyond names and forms. So why it is beyond names and forms means whenever we assign a name and a form, we are limiting that being, isn't it? Name and form are limitations. Only when we remove, it's like drawing a boundary. But can the Atma have any boundary? It is the existence principle. It is the consciousness principle. How can that ever have any boundary? Not possible at all, right? Can you draw a line around existence? You can draw a line around your existence. Possibly you can say, this is my existence with respect to the space that I'm occupying. From 1987 to God knows how many years. This is the time frame of my existence. I can draw all these boundaries to me, but I can never draw these boundaries to the existence principle that is there within me. This existence principle will continue to exist, whether I am there as this human form or when I die, even as that dust, I will continue to exist. After the dust, I go to the soil, I will continue to exist. The soil will give forth to crops and that will continue to exist, isn't it? And even when the earth itself collapses after some time, I will still exist as dust. And when the dust, everything goes into the black hole and I become a tiny little pinprick of infinite mass, I will still exist. That existence principle can never be defined by any boundaries. It cannot have attributes. Okay. And the second thing is, it is of the nature of consciousness. Consciousness is what we saw, it is self-illumining. It is self-revealing. It is because of this consciousness principle that I'm even aware of this existence. All right. So all these are aspects of Atma and not the attributes of Atma. And now another thing that we will think is, okay, so Atma means Sat is one Atma, Chit is one Atma, Ananda is one Atma. No. It's the same thing only. It is just the different perspectives from which we are approaching the Atma. That's all. Okay. I am. That is the whole thing. This I am is existence. The same I am only is consciousness. The same I am only is that of pure bliss. Okay. So now it is all very nice. I am of the nature of existence, consciousness, bliss. I am Satchidananda Swarupa. All this we can nicely say, but we are not experiencing it in everyday life. And that's where all these chaos and confusion and push and pull and everything happens. And that is why we always have this nagging feeling that no matter what we do, that happiness lasts only for a temporary amount of time. And then we are immediately on the lookout of the next thing to make us happy. Isn't it? No, everybody is like that. Everybody is like that. Whatever we do, because finite actions can provide only finite happiness. We are of infinite nature. And unless until we truly experience subjectively, it's not even an experience, it's just a state of being. Because how can consciousness experience itself? It is impossible, right? So it's a little tricky. So unless until we go into that state of being, we will not find contentment or satisfaction or true joy in this plane of living also. That's why spiritual knowledge is very, very important, because that is going to help us lead, definitely it's going to help us lead a better life in this plane of existence too. So what Guruji is saying here is, he is saying a very beautiful thing here. Unless until we prepare, see, we will be able to intellectually appreciate all these concepts. There are so many people who are fascinated by Vedanta on an intellectual level, but whether that is getting translated into their everyday living, it's a big question mark. Okay, if we just apply a little thought and just, ask these questions and try to answer these questions ourselves, everybody will get these. Intellectually, Vedanta it's very solid. Okay, there has been numerous arguments, counter arguments, so many different debates have gone on with respect to all these concepts. But intellectual appreciation is one side of it. Are we able to be in this state of existence, consciousness, bliss? No, we are not, isn't it? It is difficult, or we think it is difficult. But what Guruji says is, if we are able to prepare he says, once the mind comes to rest, the Atma reveals itself. The mind is, we will see it in the next classes, how there is a veil, how this Maya is acting as a veil, stopping the revelation of this Atma. So unless until the mind is calmed and quietened down, we will not be able to be in this state of existence, consciousness, bliss. So how do we quieten the mind? Guruji always insists on bhakti yoga, unless until we purify the mind. Purification again doesn't mean that having good thoughts, bad thoughts. No. Purification is just eliminating the thoughts itself, right? Completely quietening the mind through bhakti yoga, where you are focusing all the thoughts into a single altar of devotion, and doing karma yoga, where you are doing your bound duties without any sense of ego, that I am only doing this, and just letting go of it, and just, okay, this body is there, this mind is there, as per its karma, whatever it has to go through, it is going through. guided by divine will. If these two aspects are deeply cultivated within us, then the mind sufficiently calms down for the Atma to be able to reveal itself. It is already there. It is not something that we have to search somewhere and bring it into us and put it inside our head and suddenly feel it in our heart. Nothing like that. It is already there. We just have to let go of all other false identification and the Atma will reveal itself. And its nature is that of pure existence, consciousness, bliss, which means there are no names and forms. It is self-illumining. It is the subject. There is always a subject and object, isn't it? Sorry, I'm just taking a little more time. There is always a subject and object. The subject can know the object, but the object can never know the subject. Okay, this is Drigdrishya Viveka. There is subject and there is object, the knower and the known. The consciousness principle is the greatest ultimate knower. And there cannot be anything that can come and know this consciousness. We can be in this consciousness. We can be in the state of existence. We can be in the state of Ananda, but there is no separate knowing per se, because that consciousness is the ultimate knower. Okay, so that which is the witness, the ultimate witness, the ultimate existence, that is our true nature. And everything else, as we see, is constantly changing. And once we are able to grasp that everything is changing and whatever that changes is not me, when we are able to really drill that into ourselves, then what will happen is not that suddenly we'll become a jnani or a yogi or anything. We will just not be too affected by happenings that is going on around us. Of course, we will feel happy, we will feel sad, all this will happen. We will be able to quickly come to a state of equilibrium. The more and more we pay attention to this constant phenomena of change and keep remembering that that which is changing is not me. I am changeless. I am Satchidananda. When we keep remembering this, when we keep reflecting upon this, then slowly, slowly we will start being in that state of Satchidananda itself. So this is how we are concluding the first half of the book. After this, we are going to see some very interesting concepts about universe, the creation of universe, the Maya, and then we will see how the 5 elements and all came into being. What are the 3 qualities? After this, till now, it has been very subjective about ourselves. Now we are going to see about the objective world also. And it's going to be really fascinating. And I'm very excited about that. So I hope you enjoyed the session today. It can be a little vague, but keep reflecting on it. You have your own questions. You ask those questions to yourself. You keep answering those questions. Don't worry about right or wrong. Keep asking, keep answering. And the right answer will come to us in a way that we intuitively understand what the masters are trying to tell us. Okay. So, yeah. So, and here Guruji also says that this, how we can know this truth, how we can be in this, in our own true self is through Shravanam, Mananam and Nididhyasanam. We have to keep listening to the Vedantic thoughts. We have to keep reflecting on those, and then we have to keep doing our daily sadhanas to purify the mind. All these 3 are important for us to reach that state of being. All right. So with this, we will close the class with the prayers as always. We share the screen for the prayers. Oh. Om Purnamada Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnameva Vasishyate. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Hari Om Shri Gurubhyo Namaha. Hari Om. So yeah, thank you so much
Thank you, Atma.
for joining this. I